Hello Biafrans and lovers of freedom. Breaking news, Senator Chuck Grassley, Republican from Iowa backs Trump. Nigeria genocide designation over Christian persecution sparks alarm. Answer in brief. Yes, Senator Chuck Grassley, Iowa, publicly supported President Donald Trump's designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern over what they both described as genocide and persecution of Christians. Grassley praised Trump's move as overdue action to confront violence and blasphemy laws targeting Christians in Nigeria. What Grassley said. On December 3, 2025, Grassley delivered remarks on the Senate floor condemning the persecution of Christians in Nigeria. He highlighted kidnappings, murders, and blasphemy law prosecutions as evidence of systemic religious persecution. Grassley noted that terrorist groups like Boko Haram and ISWAP continue to attack Christian communities. He said he was very happy to see our own President Trump take long-awaited action in designating Nigeria a country of particular concern. Grassley emphasized that the designation puts Nigeria on notice and allows the U.S. to intervene if the violence continues. Context of Trump's designation. In October 2025, President Trump redesignated Nigeria as a country of particular concern, CPC, citing that Christianity is facing an existential threat in Nigeria. Trump argued that thousands of Christians were being killed by radical Islamist groups and insisted the U.S. must act. Nigeria's government rejected the genocide label, saying insecurity affects all communities, not only Christians. Risks and implications. Diplomatic pressure. Nigeria faces increased scrutiny from Washington, which could affect military aid and intelligence cooperation. Narrative clash. While U.S. officials frame the violence as religious persecution, Nigerian authorities argue it is broader banditry and terrorism. Domestic politics. Grassley's support amplifies Trump's stance, strengthening the narrative of Christian genocide, which resonates with U.S. evangelical and conservative audiences.
You're hearing a lot of reports from Nigeria about kidnappings and murders, other reports of violence. And particularly, you're hearing it about Christians in Nigeria. This violence has grown more frequent and more troubling as time goes on. The enforcement of blasphemy laws by the Nigerian government, coupled with the rise of violent attacks by terrorists against religious communities, represents a serious infringement upon the freedom of religion that you're supposed to have in that country. Blasphemy laws are enforced in 12 Nigerian states and also at the federal level. That enforcement is resulting in the prosecution and imprisonment of Christians, Muslims, traditional practitioners, and even humanists. Furthermore, violence by terrorists like Boko Haram and the other organization called the Islamic State West Africa Province continues to pose serious security challenges. Unfortunately, these challenges are not new development. For years, we've been hearing from our own government agencies, particularly the FBI and the Department of Justice, urging our own State Department to designate the terrorist group Boko Haram as a foreign terrorist organization, a step that was delayed until 2013. For my part, I have consistently sought information and action to address this ongoing threat. Going way back almost 10 years in 2016, I sent a letter to then U.S. Attorney General Loretta Lynch requesting information regarding the years-long process of designating the Nigerian Islamist group Boko Haram as a foreign terrorist organization. In 2020, I wrote to then Secretary Pompeo and Ambassador Sam Brownback asking what steps were being taken to protect Christians in Nigeria and whether a special envoy might be appointed. At that time, the department assured me that they were actively addressing the issue at multiple levels with the Nigerian government. But now, years later, we continue to see concerning reports about violence and religious persecution in Nigeria. And that is why I was so very happy to see our own President Trump take long-awaited action in designating Nigeria a country of particular concern. That designation puts Nigeria on a watch list, puts Nigeria on notice that if they don't take care of this situation, other things can intervene. The Nigerian government must take immediate action to end this violence, and the United States should do all it can to support and encourage those efforts. And once again, I'm proud to see President Trump on television at his news conferences and things like that, speaking up for Nigerian government to take action and supporting the plight of Christians in Nigeria. I yield the floor.
My emotion, because my emotion is high. In my own village, Ifonlaile, in my own village, they killed our king. They killed our king. I will say again, it's not an ordinary person they killed, though. They killed the king. I personally feel almost like Nigeria is the Wild West. And I want to be a part of that gunslinging Wild West, where we'll just be killing ourselves anyhow. As has been said, we have a minority to the tune of 7% who are running that country into hell, running the country backward, and nobody wants to admit it. We have been begging from the time of our World War for education to be the freedom of the nation. Those in the North have largely objected to that. We don't want European education. We want to invest ourselves in the Quran. I'm afraid this is the stupidity that those in the North are helping to oppress the whole nation. We are not speaking hard enough. We're speaking as though we are not competent to what's going on around us. We have a country that is going backwards, fast.
Like I said, we know where these guys are. We know where they live. We know their parents.
You know them as a government?
Of course we do. They live with the same community we live.
So why is it difficult to get them?
That is the $1 million question that I should ask you.
We are trying to understand, for those of us who are now conversant with Zamfara, have never been there, and we hear you as a chief security officer speak tonight to say you know these people, but yet you can't get them. It's a head scratcher.
It is something that we are trying to all put our heads together. That is why, from what I can do as a governor, to have this CPG as a first line of defense. Of course, military are there, police are there, as well as civil defense, but they are not under my control. They are under the control of federal government. And they are
in trying to remove Jonathan, there were stateless persons that were from the Sahel region that were imported into Nigeria.
You are in support of America invading Nigeria. 100%. Guns are blazing.
I said 100%. Since the government have refused to listen and leaders are not even helping matters.
Wouldn't that affect the sovereignty of Nigeria? That's the question I'm asking.
Hold on. You now have a sovereignty where terrorists are not telling you what to do, Abi. You now have a submeeting where terrorists are on the dining table with government, telling government what to do, and leaders are supporting it in Moses. That will be my annoyance. Why would anybody utter such words? These are things you should frown at. Who brought them into Nigeria? Was Nigeria like this in 1999? Moses, please be sincere to yourself. Who brought them into Nigeria? What are they doing here? Why are they not in Ghana? Why are they not in the Republic of Benin? Please, why are they not in South Africa? You can see, we forgot the genesis of our problem and we are blaming America. Let them come, if that will solve the problem. Since you people don't know what to do, let them come and help us. Look at now, as I'm talking to you now, almost 20 villages have been taken over in Plateau and Benue. Moses, who are those occupying those villages? Are they Christians? The real indigenous of those states are now in IDP camp, and they are the farmers in Nigeria. Can you beat that?
Oh, what started Boko Haram? Everybody knows. It was started in Borno by the then Borno governor, Ali Sharif. He is still roaming the streets freely.
Who started the Boko Haram crisis in Borno State? The governor, Muhammadu Ali Sharif.
Let me first of all say that the idea of bringing people from outside the country to destabilize wasn't, I didn't say they brought people to destabilize. What I said was that the idea, they actually brought people into the country with the intention that those people will come and vote for them. I think you understand? And they never realized, they never knew, they were never convinced that they were going to win that election because PDP was very, very strong on ground. So the fear was that they were going to lose the election. So the only thing they could do was to bring in people who could serve as mercenaries to come and win elections for them through the back door. But when the new PDP came on board and joined them and to form the APC and won the election, they didn't know what to do with those people. And in the process, those people became uncontrollable. Many people have spoken about that. You've mentioned a name now, although I hate to mention names. You've mentioned a name now, you've mentioned the El-Rufai. He talked about them.
Because top politicians who are very functional and are in the National Assembly and are in Abuja are the architects and advocates of not just instigating but harboring and keeping these people and feeding them in the bushes and taking care of all their needs and buying all the other gadgets for them. This is extremely unacceptable. If they do not love the lives of people and then they're only fighting for their own political position, I think I am serving the interest of the common masses, and it is a concern to me, and it is my right to protect them. So once we receive this report this coming week, we're going to take it up very seriously.
All right.
There are quite a number of big names that are mentioned here. So this is where we are.
All right. We'll be looking forward to the report and making it public. And for the interest of the people of the state, I'm hoping that people will not instigate and continue to allow the killings of the people. But Governor, thank you so much indeed for your time tonight. Governor,
And Aswaju called me. He says, Hajia, I said, sir. He said, I respect your stance on not accepting the appointment. I said, yes, sir. Because I can't be a zombie. I just can't follow you because you said I should follow you. Let me know what you have for us up north. Because if I made a mistake on Buhari, with you, the truth is written on the horizon. So I have to know what you have for us. He said he's in London, that if I can, I should go over. He offered to buy me a ticket. I said, no, sir, I can afford a ticket. And then he said, can I get a hotel for you? I said, yes, that I will appreciate. I took the next Lufthansa to London. I saw him that same night, and we sat. And I said, sir, the reason why I'm not accepting your appointment is because I don't know what you have for us up north. Because in the north, every every single person is either waiting to be killed or kidnapped. We can't go on like this. What is your blueprint for us? He told me that he doesn't have anything for us. I said, you mean, sir, you don't have a blueprint? He said, I can't have a blueprint because if I have a blueprint, I'll be stepping on too many toes and they might even kill me. This was what he said.
East, Abu Anudua Federal Constituency, River State. I want to get his words. He said personal matters that was envisaged, he says, by the people who drafted this constitution. And I want to quote him. The implication is, if the word personal is removed, Islamic law would have broader implications. The word personal was put there for a reason. Let's talk a bit about this whole conversation about Islamizing the country with our population and our dynamics. Is it possible that someone can sneak this in at some point and force all of us under some sort of regulation that we do not ascribe to? Is it possible that this can happen in this country?
It is possible, and don't be deceived. It's going to happen. It is possible, and don't be deceived. It's going to happen. It is possible, and don't be deceived. It's going to happen.
I want to tell you that the agreement between the British and the Fulani has collapsed. And the only person that collapsed it is Trump. I want the world to understand this.
You've just heard a message that echoes the cries of the oppressed and the resolve of the free. At Biafra Battle Cry TV, we stand firm in amplifying voices that challenge tyranny and defend humanity. Stay vigilant, stay united, and never stop speaking truth to power. Until next time, keep the fire of freedom burning.